Thank you. So we're going to talk about Northeast's investments in culture, in the Indian cultural economy, and then we'll expand it a little bit. We'll tweak it a little bit and talk about Northeast as an investment destination. And then, and the Kerala and the Northeast, because we have Venu with us, and he has been advocating investments into Kerala for a long time, and he did a great job of it. I think it was a real success story. So just a quick run through before I asked Venu to take over and talk about cultural investments. Northeast is actually one place which is blessed in terms of natural resources as well as human resources. 79 universities, deemed universities and institutes of national importance, which is a big number. A very high literacy rate, almost near the national average of 74, it's 73 point something. We have two states which have extremely high literacy rates, Mizoram and Tripura. We know about them. I don't have to say that one is crossed 91, the other is near 90. So there's a lot of human resource. They are excellent, high quality human resource. We have IIM Shillong, who's member of the Board of Governors, is sitting with us. Again, one of the best management institutes that you can talk about. But Northeast's problem, of course, has been connectivity. It takes about 1600 kilometers of travel if you want to go from Calcutta, the nearest port, to Agartala. If you had done it through Bangladesh, which we could do till the 65 war, when Pakistan suspended that, it would just take 450 kilometers. A plan to build a port in Burma, or Myanmar as we call it now, is still in the limbo. We built the port, the roads were being built, but we all know that the Arakan army and a number of other rebellions means that that region is unsettled again. So before we talk about anything else, let me go on to Venu and let him talk about cultural economy and Northeast's place in it and Kerala's. Very important.
Thank you, Jayanta. Good evening, everyone. Good evening to my fellow panelists. The topic is investments in India's cultural economy. And before I go to the specifics of Northeast or Kerala, let me just make some general comments from my experience having traveled around the world, lived around the world. Number one, I think a cultural economy in the economic sense is in a very rudimentary manner in India. It hardly exists. And somehow we still live with the perception, or we have not been able to escape the perception that culture should not be about money. Culture is for art's sake. It should be there for the public. It should be provided free to the public. This is a very traditional notion within India. There are changes, and compliments to AalekhArts&CultureFoundation, to Rennie, to Atul, and all the organizers of this great event, because what you're also showcasing here is not just culture, but cultural economy. So culture has to be sustainable. Culture has to bring revenues in it. Culture has to be marketed. Only then our artists will get what the remuneration that they deserve, and that will encourage them and their talent to flourish. So if you just take Delhi, for example, if you take Mandi House, you have world-class culture available at rock-bottom prices, if not cheap. You go to any place in the world, you go to New York, you go to London, you go to Paris, the best museums, the best performances, whatever you buy, the best of crafts, all have a price. And it is that price which sustains continued creativity. We therefore need to make concerted efforts as a nation, as individual geographical divisions within India, whether it be Northeast or Kerala, to promote this cultural economy, to promote and bring our artists to the world stage, and to ensure that they get the kind of revenues that they need, and the country also gains international recognition. We just heard a beautiful song sung by a young singer. We all know about the Shillong Music Choir. This is something truly international. How much music talent exists in our country, how much in the Northeast, how much in the rest of India. If we take music, for example, that is one commodity which needs to be taken international. And our classical singers are truly amazing. They have a huge fan following amongst a dedicated audience, mostly the diaspora if you think of people abroad. But that is not enough. We should be able to take them into mainstream. And I have lived and worked in China, and I have Chinese music experts who come and say, why does the world rave over Italian opera and opera singers? Look at what your vocalists, whether they be Carnatic or Hindustani, can do with their vocal cords. Nobody else in the world can do. How many musicians can perform and improvise like jazz musicians do in the classical style like India does, or Indian musicians do? We have not been really able to bring them to the international stage in the manner we should. Yes, there was one Ravi Shankar who was known. That is not enough considering the talent we have. If we take crafts, for example, once again, there's an exhibition going on here. There is an extraordinary talent in terms of craftsmanship within India. But two major problems. Even in today's day of e-commerce and internet having connected the whole world, these are not readily known, these are not readily available in all parts of the world, particularly the leading markets, whether it be US or Europe. And at the same time, the other side of the picture, I use an example from Kerala. There is something called the Aramulla mirror. This is bell metal which is polished to become as good as a mirror. Now, the artisans there have been doing the same bell metal mirror for decades, if not centuries. The design has just not changed. The new ideas that could appeal to an international market has just not been transmitted to them. They have not been encouraged to develop and evolve beyond what their tradition has taught them. So you need people who understand the world, who understand international markets, international preferences, to come and help them develop new designs, develop new tastes that could appeal to a global market. Going on, the performing arts, I've already spoken about music. The same applies to dance. Modern dance is a tradition which has not really developed as much as it should within India. We have our classical traditions are very strong, but we need to have more modern dance. We need to have more fusion. And in food, if we take, for example, once again, Indian food is popular. It is found everywhere in the world, but it is very low-end food within those markets. We are not considered high-class elite food. Only a few chefs have started penetrating the international market with top-class world cuisine. We have very few Michelin star chefs from India, which is the yardstick with many people use in the world to measure the quality of restaurants. And we spoke about cinema recently. Cinema can be taken abroad in a much bigger manner than it has been already done. And of course, the biggest success story that we have is probably the popularity of yoga, the popularity of meditation that has not reached our Ayurveda or our traditional medicine systems. But here again, there is huge potential. So the simple message that I have is culture has to be led and driven by people who are passionate about culture. While the governments have a big role to play, civil servants have a big role to play, it should not be left to them. And we need the private sector to work closely with the government and with NGOs, with people who know culture, who are passionate about culture, to build this cultural economy that India genuinely deserves. This is possible, we can do it, and we must do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Venu, so much. I mean, you did a fantastic job in Netherlands, we all know it, and you did an even better job in Kerala, for Kerala, and I hope there is someone like that who does a job, similar job for Northeast. So I hope maybe someday Mr. Agarwal will do it. But before we speak to him, I'll go to Sanjay Garg, because the most famous cultural export out of the Northeast, after the Shillong choir, is probably the Hornbill Festival, where I think Arunachal government, Nagaland government have a lot of role to play. Would you like to talk about it and also about Northeast as an investment destination?
Very, very vast kind of canvas. But you see, this industrialization is rooted in, meaning the basis of industrialization could be in manufacturing, or maybe in service sector, or maybe in cultural arena. So there is nothing better than thinking of industrialization or growth of Northeast from the cultural perspective. So these, as sir has said, this Northeast is immensely and very richly endowed with so many cultural kind of things, music, dance, they're all art forms. So there is nothing better than maybe thinking of promoting or maybe doing some very, very concrete things in terms of this in the cultural side. Hornbill, we all know, that is an amalgam of so many, meaning all, see, the Northeast, taking this, and Hornbill is a festival peculiar to, meaning it is in Nagaland. It's a place called Kisama, around 25 kilometers from Kohima. So it brings together all the tribes, their traditions, culture, music, their food, everything. And meaning there is no place in the whole world which offers us more opportunities for maybe a kind of anthropological or maybe sociological or maybe cultural study or cultural experience of any place better than Northeast. So this is very, very unique to Northeast. But talking of maybe peculiar challenges of Northeast, there are so many challenges of development of Northeast, infrastructure-wise, connectivity-wise, the very perception of it being a disturbed state, a disturbed area. Meaning still there are many areas which are still, which even currently, meaning even as on today, they are disturbed areas, like let us say Manipur, let us say some portions of Arunachal, Nagaland, like that. But generally the perception is that this is not a safe place for investment. And cumulatively, we have not done good for really promoting development of industries in Northeast. We were very, except maybe Assam. Assam has a little different standing as compared to the other states, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura, like that. But many of these states, I'm very appalled at seeing that we have destroyed much of our green cover. Much of the green cover is already gone from Northeast, meaning especially Nagaland, Manipur, Arunachal, like that. We have destroyed our forests of green cover like anything. 20, 30 years back, we were very rich and very good at maybe natural-based industries. Even those are also not, they are on the verge of kind of slowing down or getting really this thing. This is the connectivity infrastructure part and the way we have been managed everything, the perception. Then comes the availability of maybe the requisite infrastructure, the skills or the maybe all those things which are required for development of anything, industry especially. Then another big problem is the availability of the land and its transfer systems. In many states of Northeast, it is the system of land transfer or land mortgage, monetization, etc. is not simple. So that hinders the process of kind of availability of financing for development or maybe for setting up of any industries. Then another problem, hope I'm not taking much of the time.
No. Go ahead.
Another problem is generally this area has been traditionally for a long time been disturbed. And still that perception, and in some places reality also is that the extortions, kidnappings, and things like that, we have not been able to really
Address it as yet.
address it in a really proper manner.
I would imagine that is why possibly, despite the fact that the Japanese, World War tourism is, we all know, is a very important thing in Europe.
Yeah.
And ideally, Japanese tourists should have been flocking to Manipur and Nagaland,
Yeah.
which is where they managed to enter. So, and I know there are a lot of Japanese, I have met the Japanese consulate people in Calcutta, and they had this great interest in Northeast about identifying graves of their forefathers in somewhere, in some tucked away in some hill. But I guess it's the disturbed situation which is really pulling you down.
Still, the perception is still there.
Still, a perception is there. Though I'm sure the Hornbill Festival is very successful, and I find lots of consular and diplomatic staff making a beeline for that festival.
Talking of this festival, it has attained its international fame. But the challenges are like how do you reach from Dimapur to Kohima? It is 72 kilometers. Takes 4 hours.
Yep.
More than 4 hours. So for people sitting in Delhi, it is difficult to really understand why and how it should take 4 hours. Then there are no places, meaning from Dimapur to Kohima, meaning perhaps you can't have a good cup of tea. Meaning there are no wayside amenities, and maybe you don't get a hotel, reasonable hotels. Some homestays have come up, but they are not sufficient. Then there is acute dearth of maybe vehicles also. These are basic things. They are basic things, basically. So I won't take more time. Sorry for that.
Yeah, no, it's perfectly okay. I think maybe a lesson from Haryana tourism, which really built a tourism out of nothing, virtually nothing, with all their coffee shops and their little bars that they built. Can we move on to Mr. Agarwal? Northeast accounts for just 2.8% of India's GDP, which is surprising, very surprising. Though 2 of its states are extremely rich in terms of per capita income. One is Sikkim, which has the highest per capita income, very surprisingly, and higher than Goa and Delhi for that matter. I think it was 5.88 lakhs in 2023. I don't know what the 2024 figures are. Another is Tripura, but Tripura, I guess it's because of the export of power to Bangladesh. That is one area where Northeast can do very well, exporting electricity to its neighbors, all of whom are in deficit. And there are enough number of northeastern power projects, whether it is gas-based, whether it is hydel-based. How do you look at it, and how do you look at the export potential out of? Another thing, of course, is natural produce, wood, timber, bamboos, etc. And I think there's a lot of raw material for cement plants which is being exported right now from Meghalaya.
Thank you, Mr. Chowdhury. Thank you, colleagues. First of all, I think one thing when we talk of trade or investment, whether it's export, whether it's investment, they are 2 sides of same coin. Trade drives investment, investment drives trade. But we look at world, look at India also, and see what has actually, why it is that Gujarat is developing as far as trade and investment is concerned. Why is it that Tamil Nadu is doing very well in spite of all its political challenges, does very well when it comes to trade and investment? And still, if anybody comes from abroad, wants to invest maybe in a Gujarat or a Maharashtra or in a Tamil Nadu, because now as AS Commerce, I get to meet many people who wants to invest in India, but they want to invest in these geographies and not any other geography. Why is it so? We need to understand one thing very clear. Anything that is mobile, anything that can move, anything that has got mobility has got value. It can be monetized. So if you are mobile, your people are mobile, you can make money. Your climate is mobile or your assets are mobile, you can make money. If your resources are mobile, you can make money. If your resources can be value added and made mobile, you can make more money. The idea is how do we see whatever we have got, because every geography has got a sum total of resources, people that are there for them. But how do we unlock the potential? That can only be unlocked either by our own worth, by our own talent, technology and things like that, or our mobility. If I have got something at home, it is only worth when I take it to the market. So that is the challenge that we need to meet in Northeast. One of the key challenge of Northeast is not mobile. We are landlocked is one of the challenges. Many states are landlocked, many countries are landlocked, but they've unraveled it somehow. In Northeast, we have not been able to unravel that. One thing that I, having worked in Northeast for long, I can say, probably we are not realizing that we are landlocked and there are some challenges which are there to stay. So we need to look at pathways where these challenges are minimal and which we can unlock. We can't keep on sitting at gates which are not going to unlock in future. So for connectivity, what we need? We need rail, we need road, we need air, we need sea for transport. If you look at last 20 years, what has happened? The air connectivity in Northeast has improved a lot. Anybody who has traveled to Northeast will agree. When I joined Manipur, we had one flight from Delhi twice a week. 2 days in a week we used to fly. Today I've got 14 flights from Delhi to Manipur every day. So connectivity has improved. Air connectivity has improved. Road, I think a lot of infra spending has happened. A lot of road connectivity is improving, but road connectivity has short challenge. As Mr. Chowdhury told, 1600 kilometers by better road connectivity can be reduced in time, but not in distance. Until unless you have got those geographical alignments, you pass through Bangladesh or do something like that. Those realities are there to exist. So road connectivity can move, but move from X to Y, not to Z. Rail connectivity is improving. Tripura has got a rail node. Manipur is likely to get a rail node. We are doing very well, but some hiccups here and there. Arunachal has got a rail node. Assam is getting connected. Again, the distances will remain, but that mobility gives some amount of economic worth to this region. Then we have got sea connectivity. We don't have much. We don't have too much of opportunity also. So there is a limitation on all this and we need to be very aware of it. If there is no sea connectivity, my volume, any good which has got volume, which has got weight, I will never be competitive, come what may. And if we can push on government giving subsidies, support, government can give you subsidy today, tomorrow, not perpetually. So what will happen? We are trying to make something economically possible which does not have an economic potential. We need to look at the sea. Air route is the best route because air route has got two advantages. It evens out. The air connectivity of a satellite through Imphal and to Bangalore is same. So when I compete on IT, I can bloody beat on somebody who is there in Bangalore also, do better sitting in Manipur. So how do I do it? So we need to figure out what are the areas where we can actually compete with our competitors within the country and across the world to actually grow ourselves. So air connectivity, to my mind, is one of the biggest, anything that moves by air. And today, good part is, lot of transactions over the world are happening through air. Digital transaction is something you see AI, you see a lot of e-commerce, you see everything is happening through satellites, through digital communications where you can connect much better. You can do a lot of back office, a lot of services can be delivered. You will be amazed to know one of the biggest component of IT exports from India today is a cross-border flow of data. Our people work in India in global capacity centers. We work and whatever we deliver is all transmitted through internet. And that is what makes a lot of foreign exchange for India. We must be earning foreign exchange to the tune of $70–80 billion just by doing this. The cross-border flow of services is growing leaps and bounds. Manipur has got a lot of opportunity, or Northeast, entire Northeast can actually use this to be a driving force for creating wealth here, because Northeast, the biggest wealth of Northeast is their human resources. With high literacy level, high level of talent, high cultural talent, I think if you are able to use this bandwagon, and today, right now, Mr. Kulkarni was mentioning, or somebody was mentioning to me, that many kids in Northeast now today are using those Instagrams and YouTubes to create reels and to create marketing platform and making some money for themselves. You would be amazed to know the biggest content creator who has got 40 million followers on YouTube is from Kerala. And he is a bus driver whose job went during the COVID time. He lost his job during the COVID time, and they, husband and wife, in the home, thought nothing doing better, use the YouTube app to create some content. Today he is creating the maximum followed content, and he was the star performer of YouTube. YouTube CEO was in India 2 months back, and Mr. Neil, he is from Lucknow. I was having a chat with him, and the story he was telling, that is the kind of money. So I think one of the key, opportunity for the entire Northeast today is to see how we can use the air route to actually connect to the world, connect to India, and deliver what we are best at. Whatever can be delivered electronically, whatever can be delivered through the air, I think that is somewhere an opportunity for Northeast lies. Two, I think we do have we have immense beauty. Northeast has got a lot of beautiful areas, a lot of beautiful climate. Northeast is one area. I used to tell my chief minister in Manipur, Manipur is one place where you can play golf 12 months in the year. And you are a hub where Japanese want to come because of Red Hill. They want to dig out, look at what happened in World War II. They have made a very beautiful museum at Imphal. Japanese have contributed, the Japanese embassy has worked with Manipur government to create a very curated World War II museum, which is one of the best museums I have visited in India. Very small, but very focused. If that can happen, I think we can, if we create an infrastructure which can actually make Japanese or Koreans come to Manipur, we can actually market our tourism, eco-tourism, our beauty. We can do it because air connectivity is not a challenge. But again, the issue is we have to create an infrastructure which matches that connectivity. You have got tourists who are going to come through air. That means they are paying tourists. They are the ones who will like to spend. They are the ones who have got money. So the infrastructure can't match somebody who's a backpack tourist. You can't have a connectivity which only allows for high-paying tourists to come and an infra which only allows for a backpack tourist to stay. You need to create that match. So that's the challenge I think Northeast is looking in. We need to think beyond. And we need to think what is, see, every time we need to think what is, there might be 20 big things that I am great at. But if 5 are the things which we are mobile, which can move, and where I can actually leverage, given our constraints, let constraints be resolved as with time and days it will get resolved. Let's move on those 5. We can actually create great wealth. Lastly, coming to cultural economy, I can only tell you my Manipur experience. That cinema industry in Manipur is one of the best. I think it comes only after Tollywood, in terms of size also. No, but again, the challenge of Tollywood, Manipur industry is, if my Manipur cinema is not global, how do I make money for my artist? How do I make money for my, if my Manipur industry remains limited to 28 lakh population of Manipur, it is not going to create wealth. It is not going to grow wealth. It is not going to bring in the VFX or the animation that the today's cinema world are made of. So we need to make our Manipur cinema also national and global by fusing the themes, the global ideas, the global challenges in Manipur setting, Manipur artists, Manipuri language. And how we can deliver it on global stage through maybe the right medium and right. Today OTT provides that platform. You can actually make money. Today you see India, who would have imagined the Korean cinema will be a rage in India? Today you ask any youth, they must all be going through Korean cinema on Netflix. A lot of Korean cinemas are getting hit in North. So this is a platform, this opportunity is there. We need to focus there and we need to actually deliver. One thing that we have been able to do well, Northeast people who have been mobile, the youngsters, youth who have been mobile, I think Northeast brings in a huge amount of talent as far as services are concerned. Whether it's musical talent or any kind of, they are one of the talented youth that I have met across. And I think today if you look at globally and even nationally, that is one section of the region which is actually making news across the country also. they are meeting, and that is one of the highest services export that you see from Northeast to other part of the country. And even globally also now it's picking up. So that's, I think, the broad message that I want to leave is we need to look at the doors which are opening up and opened and which are through an immense opportunity, and not keep on looking at governments to see that this infra or this road or this has to come or our, because the challenge is, I tell you, government with its own challenges and constraints will only be able to walk little. If you want to actually unlock, whoever has unlocked in this country has been in spite of government, despite of government, not because of government. Government has only played a small role of facilitator. So we need to figure this out, and if we can do, I think Northeast can do wonders. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. I think that was a rousing vote in favor of Northeast enterprises. And I'll go to Atul Kulkarni. He is, of course, he is the founder of amazing Namaste Foundation and on the Shillong Board of Governors. He has been doing a lot of work with entrepreneurs across Northeast, and it's actually as Mr. Garg was, or Mr. Agarwal was trying to point out, ultimately it's the entrepreneur who will make a difference. There are problems in the Northeast, we know that. We can't solve them overnight, we also know that. But if there is an entrepreneur and if he has a will and a success formula, I think he can succeed regardless of whatever is happening on the ground there. Mr. Kulkarni, over to you, and please do tell us about what you have found in your journey through Northeast.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Mr. Jayanta, for allowing me to speak on this. What I have found in the Northeast, my major takeaways is, one, Northeast by nature is a performative. The character is performative character. So you put them into any act, whether it is sports, music, hospitality, or any segment, they will deliver. There is enterprising nature. People in the Northeast, like any other part of the country, are enterprising. Okay? But unfortunately, there is no enterprise that has emerged out of Northeast. The reason for that, according to me, is the scale. Unfortunately, Northeast, I mean the whole setting, we all know those who are from the Northeast. And probably what Delhi needs to understand is this nature of Northeast. That Northeast is small pockets across the region. Unfortunately, it needs a good effort in putting that and bringing it together. Aggregation, to me, is the biggest challenge in the Northeast. And that for long has remained because of the connectivity issues. And I see a big change happening now. And that is because of the improved connectivity, which Mr. Agarwal spoke about. Just to give you an example, I mean, all of you have spent a lot of time in the region. It was impossible to imagine that you would probably, travel from place A to place B and cover another place in a week's time. Probably about 5 to 6 years ago. But today I can tell you, without taking air travel, I'm telling you, this is without taking air travel, in 5 days I have done 4 state capitals. This is simply by road and rail connectivity. And also attending the meetings. It's not just travel time, attending the meetings. So there's a huge mindset change that is happening in the Northeast, thanks to intervention of digital platforms, air connectivity that Mr. Agarwal talked about. And when I say air connectivity, it's a digital connectivity, not the flying, the civil aviation air connectivity. Digital connectivity, huge penetration, and that is helping the cause of the Northeast. What I find missing here is, as I said, Delhi needs to understand this. And when I say Delhi, it is the bureaucracy and the whole ecosystem around bureaucracy that needs to understand that there are certain very, very Northeast-centric challenges, and our policies and our whole system needs to address those areas and those challenges. So one, as I said, the aggregation. There's huge amount of fresh fruits and vegetable industry which is waiting to explode. I was recently there in Dirang. Dirang produces 800 metric tons of kiwis. 800 tons of kiwis. What is the challenge? Challenge is you have to harvest that in 3 weeks time. Where do you send this? 800 tons, metric tons of kiwi in 3 weeks. Can Northeast consume this? No. How do you add value to this? That is the challenge. And that is what the policymakers need to address. There is talent. There is huge entrepreneurial skill, be it in the economy, be it culture, be it music. The question is, how do you actually make it happen? And that needs to be understood well. And therefore, I think what we need to see is how do you help these young entrepreneurs to actually come to the national and the global platforms. We need to talk about those success stories. We need to talk about Tagerita, who's successful in getting the Shark Tank investment. We need to talk about the girls from Manipur, the disturbed area that today the whole country knows, Ukhrul, Chura, Chandpur and Chandel. But let me tell you that this is the region of the country which sends thousands and thousands of young boys and girls on cruise ships across the world. Royal Caribbean and Carnival Cruises has most of their crew members coming from these 3 districts, which are far away from Imphal. Even today it takes about 6 to 8 hours to reach these places. But this is the talent. And that is where I see the need for the whole ecosystem to understand that we need to provide platform to these people. We need to make sure that the schemes, the policies that the government of India or the state governments are thinking about need to be very state specific. What happens to Mizoram is not applicable to Arunachal Pradesh. What needs to be done in Meghalaya is not what Tripura wants. But yes, we all understand that we are part of the federal system. And that federal system, I mean, don't get me wrong, but at times creates challenges for us youth in the Northeast. And that is what we want the people to understand. And therefore, we need to create those spaces, those platforms. Today, Northeast is, if you look at the year-on-year growth of the e-commerce platform, Northeast is the top region. So, as a policymaker, how do you see this? On one side, you say, okay, great, Northeast is doing well when it comes to e-commerce platform, but it also means that there are no showrooms in the Northeast. So our major manufacturing companies are not looking at setting up their showrooms in the region while there is sales, while there is market. So our corporate India needs to understand that it is not just 4 million market. It is much more than that. And that is where we need to talk about what needs to be done in Assam, what needs to be done in Manipur, what needs to be done in Tripura. And it is very state-centric. That we need to understand. I think policymakers are required to have this kind of understanding.
That's interesting. One little thing, you talked about the kiwi, this thing. And I went on a reporting trip to the China border via Dirang, via Tawang. So 2 entrepreneurs, one I met who was making kiwi wine, and but unfortunately it wasn't selling anywhere beyond it. I think it was all selling there itself. I couldn't even get it in Calcutta where I was posted, forget about Delhi, and it should actually sell internationally. Then again I met 2 young girls who were running a hotel in the 6th Dalai Lama's village, very near Tawang. Beautiful locale, a lovely hotel, very well run, but it's just that one hotel. I mean, that should have been replicated, and there should have been maybe a kind of cooperative of hotels or a chain of hotels. Chain they couldn't have built because they wouldn't have had the resources, but a cooperative which would have done fantastically well. And that hotel was full all the time. There was no empty room at any given point of time. Tourists, army officers, returning Arunachalis from elsewhere. One guy I met, he wanted to set up a small that football stadium which you have, the small ones which are floodlit and you play only in the night, and you pay huge amounts of money to play there. So he says, no, there's enough money in Tawang. So there is money. It's not that there is no money.
No,
There
I
is
fully agree.
entrepreneurial
There is
spirit.
money in the Northeast.
Yeah.
Let's not get
disturbed on that.
yeah.
But somehow scale. Is there anything for the Northeast to learn from Kerala? And then I'll go to our official representatives so that they can talk about. And then I'll go to the audience because they should ask questions on policy especially.
I would
Yeah.
say my co-panelists know much more about the Northeast
No.
than me. I have only visited. But from Kerala's experience, let me just highlight a few points. Number one, Northeast and Kerala are very similar in the sense that our biggest strength is our human resources, is our talent, is our people, all of whom are highly educated, capable of being innovative, capable of working hard. We both have perception problems. Northeast has that it's a troubled area, connectivity is very difficult. Kerala has that it is an extremely politicized society where in implementing any project becomes extremely difficult. There's a high degree of unionism, hyperactive media. Jayanta's colleagues there are always watching what is happening there. And there is a very strong environmental movement which says do not destroy, do not do anything which destroys the environment. So we have in recent times, 2018, we had the biggest floods in 100 years. We just had a tremendous calamity in Wayanad where there was a landslide. Because of climate change, extreme climatic events are happening all over the world. They are affecting Kerala in particular. We have a fragile Western Ghats ecosystem on one side, a narrow band of land in the middle, 44 rivers, large number of lakes, a long coastline where coastal erosion is very common, and there are earlier the typhoons all used to come from Bay of Bengal, the cyclones. Now they are starting to come from Arabian Sea because of climate change. So what the Kerala government has decided is to say we cannot go the Chennai route. We cannot replicate Tamil Nadu. We cannot replicate Maharashtra or Gujarat. Let us look at what is happening in the world and let us learn from that. What is happening in the world is jobs are vanishing. Artificial intelligence is taking over, robotics is taking over, large number of jobs are going to be obsolete, but what will survive are jobs where emphasis is on creativity. What will survive is where there is a lot of individual entrepreneurship. What will survive are people who can use technology and reach the whole world using that technology. So the Kerala government has decided its focus is going to be on the knowledge economy. As a first step to that, and I am not sure how much it has happened in Northeast, what Kerala government has done is to extend fiber optic cables across the state, is to try and provide the best of digital connectivity to every nook and corner of the state, and also to declare a very novel, like many things Kerala does, it is novel, but it has to become a reality, which is to say, internet is a basic right. You cannot deny, in today's world, data access cannot be denied to anyone. Internet is a basic right of every person who lives in Kerala. So our focus now is to focus on non-polluting industries. Another particular handicap Kerala has, similar to most parts of the Northeast, is lack of land. We are a highly populated state, a densely populated state, but a very small state. We do not have large parcels of land to give industry. So we want to attract industries which require minimum land, which using internet connectivity can reach the world, and which can use the talent which is locally available, which builds a knowledge economy, not just for Kerala, not just for India, but for the whole world. The whole world is going to become a knowledge economy, and we want to be forerunners on that curve of becoming a knowledge economy. We want to focus on science and technology. We want to focus on biotechnology. We want to continue to focus on IT. We are not as big as Bangalore or Hyderabad, but we have our own strong IT industry. The government has created a long chain of IT parks across the state. It is developing infrastructure, making it available to the private industry. And we want to invite the R&D centers of the topmost industries from all over the world to come and set up their R&D centers here. I remember when I was in Netherlands, I was talking to a CEO whose company manufactures semiconductor chips, and I was asking him whether they would come to India and manufacture. And his response was to say, why do you want manufacturing? You will never replicate the ecosystem that exists in China or in Vietnam for manufacturing, but you already have R&D. And out of the revenue of every chip, 70% comes from R&D, 30% comes from manufacturing. So you are in a good position, develop that good position. That is what Kerala is trying to do, and I think there are probably lessons for Northeast from that.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'll ask Mr. Agarwal and Mr. Garg to quickly respond, 2 minutes each, on two questions which came out of this entire discussion. One is, how does Northeast entrepreneurs scale up? And secondly, how do you sell the Northeast to the rest of the world?
Thank you. I think both the answers to both the question lie in what what our ambassador mentioned. I think the biggest strength of Northeast, as I told, are their people. We need to invest in them. There's good education. We need to further invest in them, because maximum wealth is created when you unlock the potential of human resources. It is said the wealth creation follows a smile curve. The biggest money that is made is before production and after production. Why? Because before production, in R&D, in developing design, in thinking, planning, people are involved. After production, marketing, branding, is again people are involved. If you look at Apple today, the market value of Apple today is 40 times the market value of the company which makes Apple phones, Foxconn. Why is it so? Because the money is created. 50% of every iPhone that you buy goes for marketing, branding, R&D, research. It goes back to US Valley. 50% only remains where the commodity is being made, everything. So idea is, if money, wealth is being created pre and post production, and we have got the right human resources, why can't we unlock it? We need to invest in them. And technology today provides that. And I think Ambassador Saab has told very correctly, we need to invest on R&D, we need to invest on our research, our talent. And today that is being in AI. You have got a lot of AI modules are available which you can use to create more products for your economy. Which you can use to product better entrepreneurial environment for your economy. It's just available on the overall on the internet. You need to go it through, you need to deep dive, and those are the opportunities I think Northeast needs to leverage. Two, I think Northeast can actually present itself to the world through two things, which are, to my mind, biggest strength of Northeast. One is their people, because the hospitality, the warmth, and that the people of Northeast exudes is unparalleled, and the talent they have got is also unparalleled. I think with your presence worldwide, you being more mobile, you can actually make world to come to you also, because as world knows more about you, they will be more eager to learn about you. So that is one way we can present to ourselves to world. Two, I think the whole Northeast is an amalgamation of beautiful forests, beautiful ecotourism ecosystem coexist there. That is also one area we need to focus upon and see how we can offer to the world. It is not by reducing. I personally feel Northeast has got maximum green cover, and it should nurture those green cover, because that is not my weakness, that is my strength. Those green covers should actually become a pod of best of natural flora and fauna in the world, and the world should come to Northeast to see that. What we need to correct is see that our air connectivity further increases, and our perception. We manage our perception. There's no country in the world where incidents don't happen. There's no big city in the world where wrong things doesn't happen. How you manage your perception, what you talk about yourself and your country and your state is very important. So you need to manage your perception both within the country and abroad to make Northeast something that people look up to. Always trying to talk about the challenges will not help us. trying to talk about the opportunities is something that is going to help us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Very quick one, because I think we have run out of time and I'm being told by the organizers, but you give a quick one if you want to.
See,
In selling Northeast, or whatever you want to say.
basically, see, this skilling, R&D, and investment in people, that is the very important. But if we really, my personal feeling is, if we really want to bring in a kind of growth in terms of industrialization, then we have to create enabling environment that includes everything. Then we have to introspect why, meaning we have been having this Northeast industrial policy for almost 20 years now. Why nothing has happened? Why a road from place A to place B takes 20 years and still no action is being taken? So that is why there are no legal and other systems which are functioning well. I mean, at individual levels, things will go well. But at collective and cumulative level, if you really want to see, then you have to really introspect.
Thank you. I think that on that note, one question, are we allowed?
I think.
Just
Okay.
the one. Just
Okay,
the
one.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I was just thinking whether we'll get the...
We'll take both the questions
Okay,
together.
all right. I'm Dr. Ambo. I'm with Indira Gandhi National Center for the Art, Ministry of Culture. I have so many things to ask, but I'll just cut down to 4 points only. Now, when we talk about, apart from bureaucrats and army officers who are posted in the Northeast, most of the Indians know Northeast as one entity, but that's very wrong. There's so much of diversity even within their own states. There are 8 states, and each state is so much different from one another. Forget about this 8 states. Let's talk about Nagaland. There are 17 recognized tribes. Now, all these 17 tribes speak different language. I don't understand your language, and you won't understand my language. Each 17 tribes has a different food habits. Each 17 tribes has a different accent. Each 17 tribes has a different textile. There's so much of diversity. And forget about the 17 tribes. Let's go down. Let's narrow it down to our one tribe. Even within the tribe, again, the tribe is divided into sub-tribes. Again, it goes. So there's so much of diversity. So when we talk about, when we make policy related to Northeast, like Sir Atul said, we cannot just make one shoes and let everyone fit in. We have to take this diversity into consideration when we make policy for the Northeast, because each state is different from one another. That's number one. Number two, when we talk about Northeast, the first thing that comes to our mind is connectivity. And I grew up listening with that narrative, and we have not changed that one. But today, when we talk about Northeast have started exporting their goods, food products to foreign countries. And we are still talking about connectivity. But Northeast have gone international, be it in terms of sports, be it in terms of food habits, be it in terms of music, we have gone international. So I think we need to change this narrative, connectivity, and then primitiveness, savages, drunkenness. We need to change the narrative. Now, I had the privilege to sit with former Governor Acharya in Nagaland House when he was the governor. In Nagaland House, he invited all the Naga scholars. There I raised this concern regarding this import of food products from Northeast to Delhi. We grow the finest organic food. I'm sure none of you have eaten the pumpkin that we grow. It tastes like egg yolk. And I'm sure everyone has tasted egg yolk. Yes, it tastes like egg yolk, I'm telling you. The exhibition which has been put up, I put up the exhibition, and you will see some of the vegetables. Chili is not just for spicy. It has a flesh, it has a flavor, it has a taste. And that is the kind of products that we grow. So we find we need a market. So I spoke I raised this concern to former governor that we really need transportation. And I don't know, today by the grace of God, and I'm sure he must have taken this issue to the higher level, and because of that, we have air connectivity. And that is the reason why we get the privilege to eat whatever that grows in Nagaland. We get everything here today. So these are some of the things that we really need to think about, that we really need to talk about. And then the centers can do a lot for the Northeastern people. But of course, it is very important to include the people from the Northeast also when we talk about policy making. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. One last question and that's it. Yeah.
Good evening, I'm Vijoya from Meghalaya. I want to talk about connectivity of the mind, mentally. I think that, you know, people, because I've lived in the north and of course I'm from Shillong, what I feel is that before they go there to invest or even to travel, they should know the sensitivities of the people. You know, people in the Northeast, the tribes, and all the people have a great sense of self-respect. And they're very sensitive to certain things. So if you're going to go and invest there and buy land and so on, you have to know the sensitivities of the people, otherwise you're not going to make it, you know. So you have to, just as people from the Northeast, when they come to what we call mainland India, they have to know about the sensitivities, so there'll be less conflict. If you go there with respect, you will get a much better response as an investor in every way. And about music, I'm glad, of course, Shillong Chamber Choir, Neil Nongkri was a very dear friend and I really miss him. But I'm happy to share with you that there are now groups who are incorporating the traditional lilts of the Khasis from the villages, you know, like Dami Knot and Somersault. And they're jazzed them up, but they're traditional lilts. It's not only about Western music. So Shillong is not only about Western music, because we have a revival of traditional lilts. What I really want to, to share with you for the investors is please go with respect and understanding. And I think that will help a lot.
Thank you. Thanks, Atan. I think we had a thank you audience for being a wonderful, wonderful audience, and thank you. It's a brilliant panel, and we had a nice, a very interesting conversation, which I think will be the starting point for many more conversations to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much, dear panelists. Everyone, there is an announcement, please. The next two events we are having, the immediate one is going to be a fireside chat with the celebrated actor, Mr. Adil Hussain. And that will be followed by some live cooking demo and food talk about fusion cooking, about how Kerala appams can marry with the northeastern side dish. It's going to be interesting, so please stay back and chill. Thank you. May I now request, everybody is on stage for some felicitations and photo call. Felicitations. Brother's wife sang and got nominated for Oscars for Life of Pi.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I went to the Oscars for Life of Pi.
So, no, Jayashree was also, I met her recently. Yes, yes, before she.
Yeah, I want photograph with you.
Yes, of course.
In fact, I'll take one with you and send it to Jay.
Of course, please.
Sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for our panelists. Louder. Can you take one for me because I have reason? हाँ वो तो है फिर भी So we now all set for a fireside chat. Promises to be very, very invigorating. Everyone, please take your seats.